Welcome to Mommy Space. My name is Brianna Bernhard, your hostess, and I am a new mom. I selfishly created this podcast to get some advice and inspiration from the moms in my community who are doing amazing things while raising their families. I've realized motherhood is hard, but knowing I'm not alone in this call makes all the difference, and I hope you feel refreshed as you listen. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome back to Mommy Space. This is Bree, and today I'm here with Allie Meister. Allie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I met you through a mutual friend of ours, Heavenly, and she was just couldn't say enough good things about you. And I'm really excited to talk to you about your motherhood journey, what that's looked like for you. But before we dive in, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and a little bit about family life?
Yeah, I'm in Corona, California, and I've born and raised in Riverside, and so just kind of been in this area my whole life. Live close to family. My sister's down the street. We live next door to my in-laws,
Nice.
And some people might think that's crazy, but for us, it's really amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And my husband and I are coming up on our 9th wedding anniversary at the end of the month. Yeah, we met in college and just happened quick, and we got married within a year, and then a couple years later got pregnant with our first. So now we're 3 kids in.
Wow.
And
Wow.
So my oldest is Nolan, and he is 5.5 years old, and our middle is our daughter Maylene, and she is almost 4. She'll be 4 in April. And then our youngest is Chase, and he's 1.5 years.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, your journey into motherhood is, well, I mean, you have 3 kids, but I know there's some uniqueness to your story. But I would love if you could kind of dive in, share with us like how it first started for you. Did you guys want to have kids? And then kind of bring us up to speed today where you guys are at now.
Yeah, so when my husband and I got married, I was 19 and he was 22.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, let's have kids right away. But I totally was I didn't even know who I was. And I remember getting pregnant with my first and just being so terrified that I was going to lose him in pregnancy. And I think that's pretty common with first-time moms to just, it's a new connection. Yeah. It's a new thing going on. And so, I mean, he was fine. My pregnancy with him was normal. And yeah, that was kind of when we got pregnant. It was, we were excited, but it was still nerve-wracking. We're like, oh my gosh, it actually happened. Yeah. Like, not trying very long, and it happened. We're going to be parents. Like, what are we going to do? So then, at that point we were living in Lake Elsinore, about 30 minutes away from family, and just not very connected with them as much. But about 6 months after, or about a 1.5 years after my son was born, we ended up moving into Corona near family, and ended up building a house right next door to my in-laws. So that was great. And in the course of that time, had our daughter.
Wow.
And right when we moved into our house, I found out I was pregnant again.
Wow.
And so, coming on number 3. And when we found out we were pregnant with Chase, our third, we were about 6 months fresh off a diagnosis for our 5-year-old Nolan of type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
And so it was a lot to process.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable being a mom of 2, especially figuring out what diabetes was like and learning how to manage that. And so finding out I was pregnant with a third was slightly terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
And I actually cried when I found out I was pregnant. I was not really happy with God about that because I felt like overwhelmed already.
Wow.
but I knew he knew what he was doing. And, thankfully I had released it into his hands, because at 20 weeks with my pregnancy with Chase, we started getting some abnormal scans. And that's when they discovered that he had something going on with his brain and something going on with his heart. And basically that started on a long emotional journey of, finding out what was going on with our baby in utero. And we ended up finding out like around a little bit past 30 weeks or so that he had a rare genetic mutation that my husband also carried, but my husband doesn't have any expression of it.
Okay.
And so my husband's totally normal, depending on who you ask. And and then, we have Chase. So when I was pregnant with him, we weren't really quite sure what was going to happen. He had a stroke in utero, and so he had a brain bleed. So
oh my gosh,
we we were just kind of left. I knew that he was the Lord's, like every child is the Lord's, and they're put here for a time and a purpose. And I had released him. And so I knew that, his life was not a mistake. But I still had no idea what his life was going to be like. Just all these questions of, is he gonna walk? Is he gonna develop normally? Is he gonna survive long? Like, am I gonna lose him while I'm pregnant? All of these things just racing through my mind. And, we were induced with him, because I was induced with him because he stopped growing at around 32 weeks.
Wow.
And it's weird because, when you're pregnant, with my first two, like I gained, quite a lot more weight than I desired to.
Sure.
But, I think every woman loves to hear that they look great when they're pregnant, especially, if they're not really gaining that much weight. They want to hear they look good. And it was so strange because with Chase, he stopped growing. So when people would be like, I'd be like, oh, I'm 36 weeks. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so tiny. And I knew it was because my baby had stopped growing. So it was like, no one had any idea that the comments they were making were having an effect on me. And I say that because it just, as a mom, you kind of have to get to that place where recognizing that people are coming from different backgrounds and dealing with their own things, and that most of the time people mean well and they have no idea what their words are doing to you.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
So it's just a really hard thing to be able to separate and just like not be numb to what people are saying, but just to recognize like these people don't know what's going on, and they don't need to, but I don't need to take their words to heart.
That's because
so good. Because they don't know me and they don't know what my story is. And so that's just an encouragement for anyone that may be struggling with their self-worth or what life has dealt them, and feeling like you owe an explanation to someone. You really don't. Wow. And just have grace for people, and knowing that they don't have to know your story, and you don't have to, let them in, but you don't also have to take them seriously.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's okay. Just listen to the people that know you and know what's going on, and people that you can trust.
Yeah.
So now we have Chase, and he's a year and a half old now, and his list of health conditions is very long. He a couple of them being that he's pretty developmentally delayed. He's 18 months old, but he has the physical development, strength wise, he's very low muscle tone. So he's still at about a newborn level.
Wow.
And socially, he's probably about a 6-month-old.
Wow.
And he eats by G-tube. He's on a special diet because he has intractable epilepsy, which just means that it won't be managed. It can be managed by medication, but his seizures won't ever stop. So it's just kind of this expectation that, he's just going to have seizures, and, sometimes it'll be worse than others of how frequently we see them. And then, of course, he has cerebral palsy, as well as a brain defect called schizencephaly, which just means that there's clefts in his brain. So he's got a significant amount of brain damage going on. And that's, we don't know what to expect with him, but so far he's been a pleasure to do life with.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. That's a big deal. It's like, so I haven't talked to anybody in your situation as far as dealing with disability, and it's something that, you know, I think we as moms all think about and pray that we don't have to deal with it. But I would love to kind of hear from you, like what that process has been for you. And I so appreciate your honesty and like what, when you found out you were pregnant, like what it made you feel, but then releasing it to God, like how significant was that process for you?
So with that, honestly, you know, we don't know what is going to happen to us in this life. You know, God's ways are so much higher than our ways, and tragedy and suffering is going to strike everyone at some point, whatever that looks like. And honestly, for me, when my son Nolan got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, like that made me angry at God, because he was a healthy child. And, you know, right before his 3rd birthday, we start having issues. And I really had to like come to terms with the fact that God knew what he was doing in Nolan's life. And I had to give that up to him. But I wasn't okay with it. And so at that point, I had started really like diving into prayer and diving into my Bible reading, not because, honestly, I initially started doing it because I was like, I know that God can heal. He's done it. And I know he works miracles. So I'm going to get my miracle. I just was like, okay, this is what the Bible says. This is what I'm going to do. And so I started praying certain ways. I started seeking people to lay hands on Nolan and all of this. And I was just striving for so much. Like, I don't want this life sentence of an incurable autoimmune disease. Yeah. Like, I want it to go away. God, I know you can do this. Like, why aren't you doing something? So when Chase came around, and then I, you know, found out that you either your child develops something, you know, as life progresses, or you find out in utero, you know, and it's just like having had 2 experiences like that. They're both shocking. Like, but I will say that going through what we went through with Nolan definitely prepared me for Chase, because really by the time I had gotten pregnant with Chase, the Lord had given me this peace that he was going to heal Nolan, but that I had to wait on his timing.
Wow.
And then Chase came along and just stretched me even further. Wow. And it was like, it's been a really hard couple years for us, like emotionally, it's on our marriage, on our family. Like, having a kid with special needs is not easy. Like, we have a girl from our church that moved in with us over the summer, and she's been helping us with the kids, and she helps with Chase, because when family comes over to hang out with the kids, like, I have 2 kids that like are, you know, typically developing. And, you know, aside from Nolan's diabetes, a couple of our family members know how to manage that.
Right.
But, you know, they're aware of what's going on. Like, they want to play, they want attention, but Chase requires 24/7 care. Okay. And, you know, so now having someone, you know, live with us it's been such a blessing, but I can't tell you how hard it has been to accept help and to ask for help.
Wow. That's a big deal. Holy moly.
It was hard before I had kids with special needs. So, like, you know, I'm in a place of such humility, because I cannot get through a day without help. And that's so hard, I think, for most moms, the way that society and culture portrays what a mom should be able to do. You know, you should be able to juggle work and being a mom. Like, you should be able to cook, clean, do laundry, and all these things and be a mom and have your kid function well and, you know, have everything spotless and be involved in all these things. And it's just not realistic. And I think having for our family such a drastic, like, we have no choice. Like, we have to ask for help. And it's been really hard because it's like, you know, my mother-in-law comes over and helps with laundry. Like, my family helps, like, with dishes. So many things that I would normally feel that mom guilt of, like, no, don't do that. I can do that. Like, I can do that. I can do that. Like, I literally can't. Like, my brain is overwhelmed. I'm emotionally drained most of the time. And, you know, if I don't find time to let people help me, then I lose myself. And I started, you know, when the kids would take quiet time or whatever, and, you know, get all the kids down at once, I made that like my time. And I go and I spend time with the Lord in prayer and reading his word and just asking him, what do you want me to do? Who are these kids? How am I supposed to be their mom? And really like trying to like bind my heart to his heart and my mind to his mind so that I can do the things that last, because the things that don't last, like a clean house and, you know, folded laundry and home cooked meals, the things that are temporal, have been stripped from me. You know, I rely on help all the time. So then where is my value and where is my purpose? And for me, it took finding out what my kids' purpose was and how God orchestrated me to be their mom. Like, who am I raising? You know, you have a kid with special needs and you start really questioning, who is this kid and how am I supposed to do this? Because they can't do a lot of things that other kids can do.
Wow.
So really challenges like where you put the value of human life.
No kidding. Wow.
Is it on accomplishments? Is it on the fact, you know, that your kid walks at 12 months or, you know, 18 months or 3 years? Like, what is it like based on? And I have a couple other mom friends that I've met along this journey with kids with special needs. And it's hard, you know, hospitalizations, like epilepsy, medications. There's so many things they're juggling. And they're just like, our kids are, our little boys are all just a few months apart. And it's all like, what is going on? I feel like I'm crying out to God and he's not doing anything. And like, there's so much peace in just trusting that there is a purpose for each of our kids. And that we were chosen to be their moms, even if we don't feel adequate. Like, I know I'm severely underqualified to be a mom of 3 kids. And then to be a mom of 2 kids with special needs. You know, to be a girl mom, to be a boy mom. Like, I am not qualified at all to be a mom. But what qualifies me is, you know, God's work in me and through me and in my kids, and what he desires for them to do in their time here on this earth.
Wow. I'm just like, I'm just in awe and feeling so like humbled right now, just like listening to this, to your story, to your perspective. It's so like, I think it brings me down to like what the one thing like that matters most. It's grounding, I think, even hearing your story. And I so appreciate it. I think you're right. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in like milestones, or how we're momming, you know, but to remember like what's most important. And I think you're hitting it as far as like what legacy we're leaving. And I just so appreciate your perspective on all of that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. Well, and I even appreciate your process, the vulnerability as far as where you're at right now, where you've gone, where you're going, and all of that. So thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so I think you kind of hit actually already like a lot of the questions I typically ask. So I think this will look a little bit different than my normal interviews, which I love and is totally fine with me. But I think one of the things that I do, one of the things I want to ask you is like, what brings you joy in life amidst being a mother? Like, what brings you to life?
So I love being able to speak life into people, and just encourage other moms and other people. Like, I've always really desired to relate to people. And, when I was younger, it kind of came in the form of like, I just wanted a connection with everyone. So if they had something that was similar to what I was going through, I would like hijack the conversation and be like, this is my story and I know how you're feeling. And what I realized is, making those connections with people, people are allowed to feel what they feel, and you don't know exactly what someone's feeling. Especially, I got, a dose of that going through our own trials of people trying to relate to us.
Wow.
But I think what brings me the most joy is just helping moms, helping people feel like they have value and they have worth, and that whatever they're going through has a purpose. And I'm the coordinator of our MOPS group at our church.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I stepped into that role this year, this past September, and it's been really humbling for me. But there's something so special about like a sisterhood of motherhood.
Yeah, that's so good.
And just being able to be in a room with moms that are like, we're all going through something, and maybe someone's going through something a little bit harder than everyone else, but the fact that you can go into a place and just have that like that balancing, like that equalizing factor that like we're a mom and we're all going through something, and we just want to lift each other up. And I think that's what's so cool about your podcast is that the ability to kind of speak life into other moms and say like, hey, we're all going through this too. Like you don't have to feel guilty about this. Like you don't have to live up to this standard. And so I really find a lot of joy and fulfillment in being able to speak truth over people's lives when they're just feeling worthless, because I really struggled with my worth for a long, long time. And yeah.
That's great. Now you have a blog as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. I'd love for people to be able to like find you on social media and get connected with you, and if they're in the area too. Is the MOPS group open to anybody, or is it like a process you need to go through?
So our MOPS group is open to anybody. Right now we're full.
Okay.
But if you go to mops.org, they have you can type in what area you live in, and they have a list of MOPS groups in that area. So MOPS is Moms of Preschoolers. It's an international organization. And so I'm just the coordinator of our group, but there's groups like internationally.
Wow.
And moms of all ages. Our group at our church has MOPS and Moms Next. So we have moms of preschoolers and then moms of school-age kids.
Oh, cool.
There's a teen MOPS that they do, and there's military MOPS.
Wow.
So pretty much if you're a mom, like that's like MOPS was my lifesaver. Like I joined up when I was pregnant with my first, and they have walked alongside me through so much. And it's such an amazing organization. It's Christian, and they're not pushy, they're loving. And it's just, about moms connecting and feeling valued, and like they can, relate with someone. And then also this amazing message on what your worth is and that you are loved. And I love being a part of it.
That's so cool.
And my blog is something that I started when I was pregnant with Chase, and just felt like called to write our journey and encourage other people. And that's just my name, www.allimeister.com.
Okay, cool.
And yeah.
That's great. We'll have the
Fun.
links in the show notes so people can get connected to you for all of that. That's so good.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm open to any conversations. I know that it's hard to, there's, Facebook groups and stuff for moms with kids with special needs, but sometimes it's just nice to connect with someone who's going through tough stuff.
Yeah. No, that's so significant. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. So before we kind of like wrap it up, I'd love to ask you as well. First, like how in this season, I know it's probably like one day to the other is different, stuff is always changing, I'm sure. At least that's what I've experienced just with one kid with not any, like she's doesn't have any special needs yet, at least, like it's always changing. Yes, absolutely. But I like to ask moms, like, how do you take care of your heart in the day to day when stuff is always changing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because it really is always changing. You get a routine down and someone gets sick or there's teething or whatever. I take care of my heart, honestly, by just finding some time with the Lord. I have struggles with just kind of outbursts. Sometimes I'll just get, 3 kids and thinking of all the things that go into meeting their needs on a daily basis is overwhelming. And I have a tendency to get short-tempered with them. And it's really frustrating for me because I want to be a loving mom that is remembered by her children to be tender-hearted and gentle. I don't want to be a critical mom with a short temper who yells on occasion. And I feel that way so much more when I haven't grounded myself in spending time with the Lord in prayer and just like releasing my day to Him, telling Him my worries, like financial stress of meeting, providing for kids with special needs, and all of that. And if I don't just have like an honest conversation with God to just be like, okay, God, this is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm struggling with. Like, can you give me some hope here? Can you give me something to hold on to? Like, it gives me something to look for in my day. And, I'll get an encouragement or, I'll read a Bible verse or something. But if I don't do that, like, nothing else matters. I could read books. I love reading books. I love writing. I love spending time with my friends. I love coffee. But none of those things give me like that that lasting like thing that gets me through the day, that allows me to feel grace when I fail as a mom.
Yes.
And so I have to find time every day to just be with the Lord. And sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's at night. But that's the one thing I have to do to take care of my heart, because sometimes when you're a mom with special needs, kids with special needs, you don't have time to get out of the house and connect with people and really have a quote unquote normal life.
Yeah.
So I've learned the art of, being an introvert with the Lord and having conversations with Him, because He's the only one that really can handle all my emotional turmoil.
That's so good. Yeah, it's so true. That's so good. Awesome. Okay, and I like to ask some more like funnish questions, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
Towards the end, but I guess instead of like, if you have a favorite product that you're loving right now that you'd want to share with moms, like as like, hey, if you're struggling with this or whatever, this is a great product. You're welcome.
I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
And 2 things came to my mind.
Oh,
one
good.
is my kids love like the squeezable yogurts.
Ooh.
But here's the thing, with Nolan's diabetes, we always have to carb count stuff. And it's like, if he's going to eat it, we have to make sure it's worth it for him to eat it. So I get these Chobani squeezable Greek yogurts. And they're like 6 carbs and 6 grams of protein, which normally the squeezable yogurts are like higher in carbs and like maybe 1 gram of protein.
Yeah.
Like they're just nothing.
Yeah.
So only Target sells them, but I love them because they make superhero ones and
Oh,
they make
my
just normal
word.
ones. So like the kids go crazy over them. Like I want a Wonder Woman, I want a Batman, I want, and they love them to death. And so that's like my favorite snack because you can
That's
freeze them and
great.
they're easy, and we've been buying them for months and they still never get tired of them. So it's awesome.
Nice. That's a great product.
Yes. My other favorite product is we have a indoor therapy swing for Chase. It's just a platform swing, but we got it after his first birthday and we set it up in an area in our house, and the other kids go on it too. It holds up to like a 300-pound weight limit. So it's just this square platform, but it's nice because like it's just relaxing. There's something therapeutic about swinging back and forth. So it's not only beneficial for Chase when he does, tummy time and things like that, but I go on it sometimes when I just feel like I need something to just take my mind off it. And it's a lot more comfortable, than going out on a playground swing set.
Yeah. Wow.
Your butt and hips are all squished, So, and it's great because it has, 300-pound limit. So me and, all the kids go on it, and it's been really cool. And so I've seen like the indoor swing concept before of just, the solo ones that kids sit in, but having an indoor therapy swing is fabulous, whether you have kids with special needs or not. Like, I think it's just really, really relaxing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so
Especially
cool.
on rainy days. You don't even have to go outside. They can just, swing in the comfort of their own home. So
that's awesome. I literally just went on your Instagram to see if I could find a picture of it. I think I found one, but that's so cool.
One on there.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's awesome. I also wanted to know if you had like a book that you would recommend to a mom, like maybe dealing with some of the things that you are.
I don't. I'm actually writing a book.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's even better.
There's a lot of books out there that are encouraging to moms of kids with special needs. But it's hard because, even parenting books, like, being at MOPS, we had a speaker come and talk about disciplining your kids. And I'm like, what happens when my son's blood sugar is high and he's having a tantrum? How do I discipline him?
Wow.
And the guy was like, you can't. I'm like, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks
yeah.
for that. And so it's not going to be a parenting book. It's a book on trust, because like there's a lot of things that come our way that we just don't know how to sort through. And sometimes the world tells us that it's not okay to be vulnerable, and that, you lose your salvation if you're gonna, tell God a thing or two.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I've read like a ton of books that have really, really encouraged me. But the Lord has just put it on my heart to write a book, kind of compiling a lot of what I've learned in this journey. So I don't really know what's going on with that. I've been in the process of writing it for a while now, but I'll have to get back to you on some that I recommend, because
that's great.
There's some great ones that I've read. I just got to think about it.
That's totally good. And we can add your suggestions in the show notes as well so people can look it up. And once you publish your book, I'd love to have you back on so you can share more about it.
That would be amazing.
Oh, yay. Good. Sweet. Okay. And then do you guys have a favorite holiday family tradition that you share each year?
So this year we decided actually to make it a tradition. We bought a trailer with his parents, and it's like it could essentially fit us and his parents. There's plenty of sleeping room. It's just kind of funky with 3 different kids and their sleeping habits and a snoring grandpa. But so this year we towed the trailer up to Keogh Hot Springs. It's right outside of Bishop, in the Sierra, kind of like south of Mammoth.
Okay.
And so we towed our trailer up there. We met up with some friends and we camped there a couple days before Thanksgiving. And there's no one really at that campground because it's small. And the hot springs are right there, and it's just so relaxing. And so we decided that we're going to do that every year now.
Oh, that is so great. What a
Yeah.
sweet tradition.
Yeah. And the kids loved it. And it's just, we get to go with some of our best friends. So we're excited to incorporate trailer camping as a family tradition, because traveling with kids with special needs is not easy. And so having a trailer is great because we can have all the medical stuff that we need. Cook all our own food and so we're loving it so far.
That's awesome. We did tent trailer camping when I was growing up, and it was like some of my favorite memories are from those trips. So
yeah, it's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's so great. Okay, cool. And then the last thing would be a piece of advice you'd give to a new mom. I mean, you've given a lot already. Let's be real.
I know.
Which is so good.
I do like to talk.
No, it's so good. Are you kidding? No, this has been so good. Trust me. It's
I'm
like
glad.
perfect.
I'm glad.
Yes.
The piece of advice I would give. So my sister just had a baby, and she's obviously been around while I've been raising my kids. But I told her, ask for help. That is, if anyone, that's the biggest thing, that you cannot do it by yourself. Like, God created families for a reason. He created friends for a reason. He created, all these amazing, like, mom club and mom groups and all these things. Like, ask for help, because it's too hard to do it by yourself. And once things start getting hard, you get in a place where you're comparing your motherhood skills with another mom, and you don't know their life. And if you're asking for help, whether it's from someone from your family or someone at church or in your friend group, like, it's a blessing. And for me, I have so many people helping me on a daily and weekly basis that I really didn't have a lot of people asking me for help anymore. And that was hard for me, because I felt so blessed by people that were helping me that I wanted to help others. I wanted to help my mom friends. And so, I remember actually heavenly, I had to say, hey, like, you better let me help you, because I want to, and I'm not going to offer my help if I don't feel like I can do it. So take me up on it. And so it's just all around good to be able to ask for help and receive help. And I think it just allows us to be a more tight-knit and real with one another. Because, even if it looks like that mom is doing great on her own, chances are she's really struggling, and she doesn't know how to, communicate that. And so just be aware. Things aren't always what they appear to be, and it's okay to need help.
Yeah, that's really good. Really, really good. Oh, wow. Allie, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know you've got a busy life, and I know there's going to be so many moms who will benefit from this chat. And I can't thank you enough for doing this with me.
Thank you so much. I've had a blast.
Yay.
Really cool opportunity. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was such a pleasure to have you listen in. If you'd like more information about this guest and other guests, you can check that out on Facebook and Instagram at mommyspace. And you can also email me at mommyspace@gmail.com if you want more details or have any questions or would just like to get in touch. I'm always looking for new connections. Also, it would mean so much if you could leave us either a rating or review, or both, on iTunes. This just gets the word out about the show. It's a way that we can get more connected with more mamas out there, and it really helps me out as I am doing this on my own, and sometimes I just need a little lift up, y'all. It's good to hear from you that way. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing week. Remember, you are loved, you are enough, and you are doing your very best. See you next week, Mama.